What's up, everyone? We were going to do some content for you guys for the rookie division here. This is for the Golf Madness qualifier. So this is round 1 of 3, 9 holes, fixed wind. So we are going to have the same wind. So if you have the same wind as me, you can come behind, you can shoot, and you can kind of replicate the shots, make slight tweaks to your round, and have very similar results to me. Let me show you a little bit about my bag setup here. We're going to keep the barchetta 2. Maybe switch this generic wood to one of these two. Maybe Root 4, Viking 5, one of those. I usually use those as more of a standard wood. One of these two. And then only pull that El Capitan out when I need that top spin boost. But this is pretty standard that you'll be using through the rookie division is clubs like this. If you don't have the barchetta unlocked yet, do try to go to Tour 7, get it unlocked. You just got to get it unlocked. So that means you got to have enough trophies there just to get this piece unlocked here. So whatever the bare minimum is, you can see I'm kind of at it, however many trophies this is. It's about 1,800. As soon as you hit that, you're good to go. You can start getting that barchetta in free chests, big shot chests, tournament chests, kind of all over for rewards. So you definitely will start accelerating those club progress real rapidly. Let me jump in here. We're going to use Guide for Ultimate Golf. I'm going to use it as an overlay in pop-up mode. This is free to download in the Android store as well as the iOS store. With the iOS, you'll need an iPad to be able to use the docking station and then swipe it back and forth. There is videos on how to set that up as well. So if you are in here, first I wanted to just let you guys know in this recent guide section, this is where this video is going to reside. So the easiest place for you to find that and other interesting, good content for rookie players is going to be in that recent guide section. Like I mentioned, it is free to download, so fully worth taking advantage of the opportunity to just be able to have that. So we are going to go in here and start our round here. We're going to switch up my meshes. I'm going to go to a very basic generic mesh here. London golf course, like we said. So with this short hole here, I'm just going to go at this and go basic ball. The reason with the tailwind here, you're going to be able to get this to land very far with basic ball. Basic ball in tailwind situations is going to be definitely one of your longest balls in the game. Of course, you could always go with like a Pro DX as well. You could get it up even farther than me. You can see I just roll into the rough there. You know, this is a perfect opportunity to just kind of say, you know, I just kind of want to show you this feature, the replay. The perfect opportunity since we hit the great ball, why don't we just back out? I'd rather for the guide be able to show you guys the wedge shot than the rough shot. So try to focus on getting out into the middle of the fairway and not great balling. So I did great ball that to the left, but you can see I'm just slightly in the rough here. And there we get the ultimate shot. So this is going to be a much better tee shot. So I'd rather you guys see something like this. And, you know, hopefully you do have the barchetta or something with some curl, you know, in the early stages. Otherwise, you'll have to be a little bit less aggressive than what I did. If you're using Outlaw, you might have to use some kind of side spin ball to get it over here. But one of the things that I wanted to show you is we got it to wedge distance. We're going to be pretty close to max wedge. I like to utilize a lot of my backspin, especially with the early club. Keep in mind that that's the second bounce we're looking at there. It's going to also deflect out and maybe bounces 2, 3, 4 are going to be just a little bit as well. So we're going to start maybe right around here. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I do have this Hip 5 club to to where I can essentially just get my scale. So first, let me get the correct bag here. Is it, I don't remember, here it is, beginner guest. So we're gonna come back and switch our bag. And then one of the things that we can do is we just know this is the max span for our hip 5. So we can see we're right around the 90% indicator, maybe just a little bit less, 88%, something like that. So when I come in here, we do 10.5, we'll do 88%. Gives us a good estimation, 6.7. Also keep it in mind we're pulling down to lower ground. Anytime you pull down to lower ground, you may want to under adjust just slightly. It's at 6.7, right? I'm gonna turn this Win HUD on so I can just see this display. As you can see, it just shows my rings at the top. So we might just under pull and maybe just push up just a tad. Let's just see how this works out. Of course, you've got to get that ultimate shot, especially with basic ball. Here you can see it's coming in, very good opportunity, some just left momentum that we needed to account for. So you can see those bounces were definitely to the left, but it gives you a nice starting point. You can use that and just kind of make one rough tweak and be able to get dialed. And if you are looking to, set up your grid like that, there is, features in here when you go to the tools. The grid creator, and there's videos for you to set that up if you wanted to get a scaled hive on your screen, kind of similar to what I do. The biggest advice that I have for that is always set it up to max zoom, because that's the only way you can standardize the shot. So we are going to go, why not? We'll do the Bigfoot shot. We'll go 10 miles per hour. Keep in mind we're going to have some wind effect here, especially if we don't use backspin. Towards max club, it's going to have some natural backspin. But I'm trying to consider my overplay factor a little bit, just for the fact that I'm not using full backspin. So the ring values that I've used, keep in mind that you are going to be full backspinning. So when you're not full backspinning, you need to kind of offset a little bit, and that's what you can see I'm doing here. Other than that, you can see at the max it's saying just a little bit over 6 rings. You have to also keep in mind there's going to be some slight wind effect, but this tool does kind of factor in for some of that. So you might just want to overplay just a hunch, just because of that. So I went maybe about 6.2 rings here, but you could also see with how much I was offset. Oh no, it hit the tree. So we hit the tree. So we're going to miss out on some tiebreakers there. I guess you're going to have to curl that, or you have to choose. Should I go less rings and curl it around that tree? As you can see, the only other thing that you could do is you could use a reduction ball. So we clip this tree, and you can see it causes it to deflect to the left. So a couple things you can do. You can reduce the wind so you go less rings. Going less rings would hopefully keep it out of that tree. But also, you can also try to use some side spins, stuff like that. But overall, the technique, you should be good to go there. And with this shot, you won't have to play any wind or anything. So we're just going to kind of set up maybe just to the left of the hole. And there shouldn't be any wind play. We're just going to let that naturally roll out into the hole there. So we do miss out on all the tiebreaker points. So you might just want to be a little bit careful. Since you're going to have the same wind direction, you're going to have to make sure that you don't hit that tree. Using something like a spider ball, getting that down to like 6-7 miles per hour could really help. You wouldn't be in the tree with your adjustment if you go less rings. So definitely something worth considering. What we're going to do here, we're going to definitely bring something out. We're going to want to get this a little bit farther off the tee. Use something to the effect of spider balls. One thing I just want to let you guys know, especially for the early going, I want to just talk about this real quick. So as soon as this comes to a rest, I'm going to just back out real quick just so you guys can, so we can be on the same page here. So I'm going to do the save and exit. And then this little eye in the right corner, we're able to pull up what the rewards are. So ultimately you can see here, times 18 times 48. So that's like 64 balls. And if our qualifiers are 2 9-holers and an 18 or even 2 18s and a 9, that's 45 holes with the ability to, as long as you get top 10, you're going to get a lot of that returned. So especially for the qualifier, all we need to do for a qualifier is just get on this side. So this side, so there's 20 in the bracket. We just got to be in the top 10. So one of the things that you can do is you can play on a budget at first. If your tiebreaker is not good enough to make it to the next round, then you go back and just restart, do it free. So let's see what this looks like. And here you can see we didn't get up here aggressive enough. So it's going to end up costing us. So how are we going to combat this? What I recommend for you guys is use the Mojave. If you use the Mojave off the tee, we'd be able to set up right here, go straight at this pin. You're going to get a lot better tiebreaker rewards if you play it that way. So one of the things that we're going to do here, we're going to put this Viking on. So let me switch my bag. We're going to get this like this. Maybe 3.5 rings. You got to make sure 3.5 rings over is in the fairway. So that's the first thing that I'm doing. And then we're just going to curl this and just try to keep it on the fairway, give ourselves a good pitch. Try to get that ultimate shot if you can. You cannot great ball this to the right. You put yourself straight in the water. You can see I barely even got over there. Maybe should have just used just a tad of top spin, but I did want to avoid rolling out long. So what I was doing there is making sure that I didn't roll out and come, because it was going to roll out this way. I wanted to make sure that it stopped short. But nevertheless, this isn't that bad. So not too worried about it. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll play the ball guide pretty tight here. Something to the effect of this. And you can see I'm really not playing the wind here either. I don't think you'll really need to. You should have a little increased zone as well. Oh! So just keep that ball guide just a tad bit shorter. Definitely an opportunity to get that eagle there. We just ran it through just a little bit too fast, but you can see what my ball guide looked like, and you could just try to set yours up just a little bit less. You shouldn't have to play the wind that close, so that's one of the advantages once you get in that close. Especially as your clubs progress, those are going to be a little bit more of a formality once you have more ball guide. Another good thing that you can do is you can top spin an atlas. So once you start getting your atlas up, you can use the top spin feature. Once it gets to like a 3 or 4, and it's going to have a lot of ball guide, there's not going to be much ball guide missing at all. So you can really capitalize on that with not having missing ball guide. So here we're going to come back. We're going to play this hole on a budget. Because the wind's straight, we're going to be able to stop this very quick. So one of the things that I'm going to do, we're going to bounce back here. We're going to go to that route that I told you about. I like to play this with a lot of backspin shots. Keeps it on the course, stuff like that. So 10.9, max club is 7 rings. We are at min here. We have this set up. We're going to flip this way. We're going to pull this down to min. It's like 7.5. So 7.5 rings for our adjustment. Now keep in mind, we want to land this 5 rings short of here. Because look, 5 rings is right on the green, right on the beginning of the green. So the way we're going to treat this is the min line, we've already adjusted 5 rings. So when we're at this min line here, we're going to say we've already adjusted 5. We only need to go 2.5 more. So just straighten this up. You can kind of visualize this spot, turn it, and then just kind of see, is that where I want to land? It might just be just a little bit to the left of where I want. So I'm just going to shift it over just a little bit more. Because we're just trying to size this shot up and then pick this spot. Once we see the spot, we can see how it's coming in. So keep in mind, this is with 5 rings already adjusted. And then we're just going to go just a tad bit more, as you can see, 5.5, 7.5, 7.6, somewhere to that effect. let's just give that a go. Of course, ultimate shot, like I said, going to be pivotal. So make sure that you're catching those ultimate shots. Maybe just a hair to the right. You could have been just a little bit more aggressive with that, but you can see the adjustment is kind of doing almost exactly what we want. Plus, it's checking up very rapidly. So we're able to get that ball in close and figure out the adjustment. So we can still keep that a very good close adjustment and have a good score there. So let's keep going. One of the things I just want to show you here is 10.6, 5 rings. So we just got to make sure our 5 rings is on the fairway. And I'm going to go very medium with my power because I want to concentrate on ultimate shot. You can also see that I'm curling back to make sure that this doesn't drift out to the right too much. But I'm not trying to force anything off the tee, especially with basic ball. If I'm trying to play this round on a budget just to get through, because my tiebreaker won't be important, all I'm trying to do is just get through to the next round. So, you know, utilize as many balls as you think that'll take to do. And then here again, we're going to have to do the root approach. Same similar thing is we'll take this to the side and just say the second bounce is probably landing about here into a headwind. It's going to roll out maybe to about here, and that's about it. So we're about 2.5 rings past the hole, maybe just a tad bit more. So if we want to land this 2.5 rings short of this hole, we're going to treat this as, just like on the last hole, we've already adjusted 2.5 rings. So if we've already adjusted 2.5, we're going to look at this spot out here as kind of our landing zone, 2.5 rings. And then once it looks pretty good with alignment-wise, 2.5 rings down, kind of somewhere right in here, we're going to continue and do the rest of those rings. We're just going to move it right around there. This might be the wrong... See if I can hop back in here real quick, because I'm on the wrong club. But anyway, same thing applies. We're going to treat this as we've already gone 2.5 rings. We're down at the min club value, like this. And then 10.6. It's actually going to be 7.6. So that means we still need to go another 5.1 or so, because we're treating it as we've already gone 2.5. So since we've already gone 2.5, we're only going to go 5.1 more. And we can't even without going over power slightly. So just a tad of overpower here. And of course, catching that ultimate shot is going to be very important. Let's just see how this comes in. As you can see, it's coming in very nice, just to the right. So we gave that one a really good effort. Just a little bit of bounce effect to the right there. So if you can factor that in and just kind of land that a little bit to the left of the hole, very good chance that you can make that. All you got to do is find that landing spot just left of the hole. So let's keep going here. Pop into the next hole. Very close to the min line again. We're going to use this root. Same type of principle as before. This is going to be the one that we can get just a fairly more aggressive with. So that's what we're going to try to do. Thinking something to the effect of this. And you can see my alignment's just a little bit left, because I think the ball is naturally going to want to just try to roll out to the right here, especially with all the wind that we're talking about. So what we're going to do here is we're going to treat this very close. Weren't we close to the min value, somewhere down here? And then we're just going to say, oh, okay, 6.6 rings, and we'll just give it a go. So turn to the side, put the adjustment 6.6, 6.5, 6.6, somewhere in there. Ultimate shot. So here you can see it's coming in very nice. We give it a really good run, just coming up just a tad bit short. So could just start your initial start point just a little bit more aggressive than mine. So just a little bit extra push up on that missing ball guide, and you guys could do a very similar shot there with your IM root. And even if you had like a lower one, you know, just try to kind of find that spot, and you might be able to, you know, do a really good thing there and be able to get that one. So let's come back here. We'll take a look at, I want to take a look at Mojave real quick. These are those situations where I feel the ball's going to land up there, and since it's going to directly give you an extra stroke, you might as well go for this shot. So what you're going to see is I'll utilize a ball here because I think directly it's going to give me this eagle. So we'll still use a lot of our top spin, just try to land on the fairway. And hopefully we're getting up here close enough that we can directly get this eagle as a result of using that ball. This is like a case in point of exact example of why you would definitely, you know, think about the special balls for a shot like this, is because you know directly there's, you know, maybe an 80% chance I'm going to make this. And you can see what it looks like with my ball guide and everything. Of course, I used a little bit of right spin to counter that slope. You can see it's breaking to the left a bit. So I'm trying to factor that in. You can see I'm just kind of naturally putting this just a little bit to the left and just kind of counter spinning it, or to the right, I mean. And you can see what my ball guide looked like. And just over the right edge. But this is where I was mentioning that you guys can utilize that shot. You can get the drop just by making slight tweaks on what I did, because we have the same wind and everything. So since you'll have the same wind, you don't have to worry about playing the wind in that situation because you're so close. When you're that close to the pin, the wind doesn't play. So you don't have to worry about the wind. It wasn't a factor. It's just about finding that spot with all the missing ball guide. So keep that in mind, and we will roll with the next one. Like I said, great opportunity for you to get that eagle. If you think you're ever gonna, you know, get a stroke directly by using a ball, you always make the decision to use the ball. We could have done that for that par 5 back there as well, because it would have been the difference between us getting on the green with that Mojave on hole 2 or 3 or whatever that par 5 was. Now in this case, you could see straight tailwinds. So the straight tailwinds are going to allow me to get here. This, you know, is kind of a good time to do the Viking, just because of the extended range. Anytime that you can see it's close, sometimes just having these few extra yards makes it just a little bit easier to gauge the ball guide and how much rollout we're going to get. So I'm utilizing max backspin. You can see how close my target is to the green. We're just going to try something like this. Let me just pop back out, pop back in real quick. And we're going to go to Viking. 10.2. Tailwind. It's going to be hard to go to, we were at the max line, but that's okay. It's about 4.6. We might actually run out of room. The span of this club might only be 4.6. Exactly. So the span of this club is just a little bit beyond that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of just barely try to short hit this a bit. Of course, getting the ultimate shot is going to be pivotal. Here we're going to try to get some of those tiebreaker points back, because we're going to try to get onto the green. So just a little bit short, but you can see 1,600 just for one shot. So in the early going, that's going to get you a long way. If we would have got on the green on that other one, anytime that you can get all those tiebreaker points, definitely going to be a huge thing. So 1 to play. You can see tiebreaker. We're going to pass those two guys with just a birdie and on the green somewhere. So with that in mind, like I said, we're going for top 10 only. So with only needing to get top 10, very good opportunity here. And we're just going to utilize the barchetta kind of towards min value a little bit. Might even just take off this spin, actually. So I really don't think it's going to roll out too far. A lot of these, you'll find a lot of these games, they have, not so much here, but the greens land very soft. It's usually, it has to do with, as soon as he gets onto that green, there's like a downhill type effect because it landed on the green from so far away. So that's one of the elements that you'll see in this game. So 10.7 in this situation. Min club, it's telling me about 5.1 rings. And with ultimate shot, we're going to be in there relatively close. So let's just try to focus on that. Going right around there. Ultimate shot. I wouldn't imagine, you know, this is going to be that far off. You can see just a tad bit to the right. I could have maybe straightened things up just a little bit. But you can see the adjustment itself, pretty solid. Another 800 some points. We're going to pass a lot of those guys in tiebreaker, which is just going to make it that much easier to get through to the next round. So you can see just being able to have that boost over those two guys means that we're probably making it into the finals. You can already see 8 guys have gone, and we're on top of all 8 of those guys. So, and then 9th, you know, already we're good. 10th, we're good. So there's only 10 guys left, 10 guys that can beat us. But chances are we should be good. Of course, they can go again and improve their score. But we put up, as you can see, a very competitive score for early clubs. So with that in mind, try to focus on those concepts, especially in the early going. I think you'll really make yourself a stronger, better player just by focusing on some of that. Now, let me go back to the guide for Ultimate Golf here. A couple things I wanted to talk about. This tutorial, it's going to show up in these recent guides. Any of the new rounds that I do as well also show up here. So checking that for new content is definitely the way to go, as it filters all that new stuff to the top. Down here in the help, you'll see there's a little YouTube community link. There's also a lot of, you know, explanation of what the app can and cannot do in the help section. But once I scroll over and I go to the online channels, one of the easiest ways to follow me directly is to go to the YouTube link, and you'll see, you know, this is my direct YouTube, and you can keep up, like, subscribe, and stay in the loop with all the newest content. So, you know, definitely recommend that. And you can find a bunch of the other various communities that we're on as well there. But best of luck out there. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.